What an exciting evening so far. The Boldly Buffalo campaign was made stronger by all of our volunteers and the leadership of chairs Dan and Gail Alexander. Dan, a medical school and arts and sciences graduate, and Gail, a management graduate, were the right people at just the right time for UB. They brought a passion for our students and a passion for our community. They provided excellent feedback and counsel as we determined our priorities and goals. They gave generously and led us by example as they pushed us to reach further and aim higher. Please join me in welcoming Dan and Gail Alexander.
Thank you and good evening. Gail and I remain grateful for the education we received at UB. This is where we learned to work hard to succeed. Except mine wasn't the typical story. On the way here, I asked Gail, I said, I'd like to tell a poignant story, in my life to show the value of education. And I came up with a story and she said, no, tell the Christmas story, So I'm going to tell the Christmas story. This is not on the teleprompter. It was probably the early 70s, and it was near Christmas, just before Christmas. And I grew up fairly poor on the east side of Buffalo, William Fillmore area, Steuben Alley. There were 7 siblings, 5 different fathers. It was very dysfunctional. So Christmas time comes, and once again, there's no gifts. And so my mother says, we're going to walk to the Lower West Side. I believe it was on Virginia. There was a Salvation Army there early in the 70s. And so in tow, she and my siblings, we walked, it was probably 4 or 5 miles through downtown and to this Salvation Army. And we were in line, and it was very cold and snowing. And I had the gingerbread, the Wonder Bread bags on the rubber shoes and socks for gloves. And we're waiting in line. It seemed like an eternity. And we noticed that the gifts started, the pile started getting low. Well, sure enough, 2 people ahead of us took the last gift. And they said, there's no more gifts. And of course, we were all young and we were crying, and a gentleman walked up to us, and he had a deluxe Monopoly game, and he handed it to us. And that was our gift for that Christmas. And so we, almost for everybody, for all the kids, and so we went home, and we played that game for 24 hours. It was it was the best Christmas of my life to this day. But my brother, that's funny, other than they got married. And I learned a financial lesson, and that is my brother, we call him Chilly Willy, he always won the games every time we played Monopoly because he was the banker, and the banker always wins. So I tell that story because it shows the importance of what an education can do. I came from absolutely nothing, and because of UB, first of all, allowing me to go, get into undergraduate school. I was an English major, and then becoming a doctor, getting accepted to medical school, incredible day. It just changed our path and our life and our kids' lives and our grandkids' lives and our great-grandkids. And so just an amazing, amazing thing. So I will never forget or fail to appreciate the chance that UB gave to me. That's why we gave to the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. We wanted to help the students from the inner city where I grew up to go to medical school. And that's why we agreed to co-chair the Boldly Buffalo campaign, because we believe in a UB education. Now we stand here just 6 years after our kickoff event, amazed at the progress that was made because of this transformational campaign, because it turns out you believe in UB too, and so did 84,000 donors and alumni. Truly remarkable. We all have our why, and we hope today you've seen that your investment has paid off, that UB has a momentum that simply cannot be stopped. Today, we stand before you humbled by this enormous success. You have our sincere gratitude for your generosity. We want to also acknowledge the team of enthusiastic campaign volunteers who drove this campaign to success. They initially thought they were signing up for a $650 million goal, so did we. Remember that? We blew that out of the water. By 2021, even through a global pandemic, together we decided to go for $1 billion, and we did. Thank you, campaign volunteers. Our experience getting to know you and working with you was one we'll remember for a lifetime. And thank you, donors, for stepping forward boldly to support this great university. Another quick story. It seems everyone in here is fairly generous. And not all of us are born with the generosity gene. When I took on this task with Gail, I believe Eric Olcott, who retired subsequently, great man, he said about 10% of the people have the generosity gene, and 90% do not. Well, because of 23andMe, which I took several years ago, I finally found out who my biological father was. I never knew. And he was a Macedonian immigrant. His name was Stoyan Boshnikov. He escaped Tito's regime in '52 and came over to this country penniless. And through hard work and effort and discipline, he built up a commercial painting company and was successful. I never met him. He's since passed. But I found out, I have 6 other siblings, so I have 12 siblings. And I found out that I know where I got the generosity gene. It was from my father. On his gravestone, it says, "Give, give, give, and expect nothing in return." With that said, Gail and I have the great pleasure of introducing a man who has been a driving force behind the Boldly Buffalo campaign. His vision for UB is what inspired us and so many others to step forward and support this campaign. Please help us welcome UB's 15th president, Satish K. Tripathi.
Thank you, Dan and Gail. Thank you for your generosity, and thank you